And good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. How is everyone today? Good, good. Hey, so Donatella has the flu. Uh-oh, big rookie mistake going on somewhere here. There we go. Okay. Left it open. Thank you guys so much for joining us again on a, overcast Saturday morning. I won't say beautiful. Anyway, here on Long Island. But thank you guys for coming, and we appreciate you being here. She does have the flu. I told her, do not come on this morning. Get your rest, because we had 2 auctions yesterday, kind of back to back, 4 to 6, and then 9 to 1, maybe? I don't even remember. So this is just me today, but that's good. Hey, let me just welcome some people on. See some familiar faces in the chat. Amy, good morning. How are you? And Mr. Storage Scavenger, how are you, James? And Donna, hey, Donna, we missed you last night. How are you? I hope everything's good. And let's see, Patricia Shelby, good morning. Thinking about you. I hope everything's going well. I know you're battling a little bit there with your husband, and I hope he's doing well. Thanks for coming on. Mr. Turtle Trader, hey, good morning. Welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. And Misty's Adventure. There's my friend Penny Day. Hi, Penny. Good morning. Juanita. Morning. Hope Donna feeling better and with the flu and So I told her, get some sleep. She needs her rest. She spins like me around the clock. I think I saw my pillow at about 2-something this morning, and here I am. But it's all good. It's good. And let's see. We'll leave no. Hey, Anthony. Good morning, Pittsburgh. Anthony's in the house. So when I'm not doing coffee on the weekends, Anthony's doing his show with Nate, Flippin' Hustler. Listen to me. Oh my God. This is me already this morning. They do it's called Ecom and Beyond. It's a morning show at 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. And then Anthony does a Bible study on his Flippin' Hope channel at 2 p.m. With Kelly, Hip Flippin' Mama. So go ahead over and subscribe to Pittsburgh. And actually, guys, always subscribe to everybody. Hit the 3 dots next to everybody's name and, catch everybody up so that you know what's going on. Speaking about what's going on, Paul Antonelli? How are you? Good morning. Deb, hey, DLC Haberdashery. Good morning. How are you? Glad you guys could be here this morning. So glad. And Michelle Lathan. Hey, Michelle. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. I know it's a crazy time of year. Good morning, Buying Space. Thank you for joining. Thanks for being here. So it's like everybody is sick. Poor Donna has the flu. I don't want anything to do with it. Lisa flipping crazy. She's been sick for the last couple of days, so we're trying to keep everybody well. So get some rest, plenty of fluids. We don't need anyone sick. Good morning, Sergeant Sport. Greetings from your world. Greetings, sir. And I guess the best thing is just fluids and rest, right? Fluids and rest for everybody. So thank you guys so much for coming out twice yesterday. For those who joined us. Oh, Janine. Hi, honey. Good morning. And don't forget, everyone in the chat, hit the 3 dots next to everybody's name so that you can subscribe to their channel. Because remember, they may not have content today, but a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, they could decide to go start creating content. And they would already have you guys as a subscriber. And hit the notification bell. Good morning, Connie Cheney. Connie's here. My sisters are up this morning. I just got my eBay orders packed, ready to go to the post office and ready. And back-breaking day of work. Oh, no. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. Back-breaking. What are we doing? Well, you be safe. Be careful. Nobody needs to be breaking their back. But yeah, seriously, it is that time of year. And I don't know about you guys, but here on Long Island where I am, this is the strangest winter. It has been really warm. I mean, we've had I won't even say one significant snow event. I mean, it really wasn't. I mean, for us, 1 to 3 inches is not a significant snow event. So, I mean, we had snow. That was it. I mean, for us, a significant snow event would probably be more like 8, 10, 12 inches of snow. But that was it, one day. And it's been fairly mild. I think this morning, it's like 45 degrees. And for January now, February 1st. Groundhog's Day is when? Tomorrow. Or is it today? I don't know. Type it in the chat. Let me know. I forget. Is it February 1st or February 2nd? But I'm scared that he's going to see a shadow because we really didn't have any winter. It's got to be coming soon. It's got to be. Oh, it's not 45 degrees. It's 45 degrees in Little River, which is another possibility of locations that we're looking into. It's 40 degrees out, which isn't bad. It's going to be a high of 48. So it's really for us. That's mild. Miss Turtle Trader. Okay, it is tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. I see everybody. 2/2/20. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if he's going to see a shadow, but for you guys where you are, has it been a kind of empty chair gallery? Good morning. Sergeant Wolf is going to premiere the shooting of the cat doll purchased from Donna here by the end of the week. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh, Misty, it's 14 there, huh? But I know that doesn't sound right. Is that warm for you guys? I mean, 35, Connie, where you are, is that warm for you guys this time of year or mild? Buying space, 64, but cloudy. That's Jacksonville. So, I mean, Florida does see the 50s and 60s this time of year, so I guess that's not abnormal, 64. Yeah, it's cloudy here too. Big overcast here today. I don't know if we're expecting any rain, but, oh yeah, later this evening. But again, only 40, even tonight, 41, 45, I think the lowest we're going to see overnight is 39, which again, mild in Chicago, Juanita, 34 near St. Louis. Okay. So yeah, I just feel it's warm. Yeah, Donna Wester, who's in central New York, she says it's been pretty normal too. Yeah, 10 to 20 usually, and it's been 30 to 40. Now again, that's relatively speaking. Those of us who hate cold, there's not sometimes a difference between 10, 15, 20 degrees, 30 or 40. It's still cold. But I just think it's been extremely mild. And in a way, that's a good thing. But I don't know if that doesn't get rid. Sometimes I feel like if we have a really bad cold spell, it gets rid of the germs. I don't know if that's true or not. I feel like sometimes you just need that like frost to kill everything. But DLC. Deb says 32 near Albany. Again, that's mild even for you guys because you guys usually see a lot of snow by now. Haven't had a freeze yet. Storage scavenger. Okay. All right. That's, that I guess is a good thing. I don't know. If it doesn't freeze enough, it means a high pesticides year. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. So we'll see. Here in New York, and I'm sure a lot of you, Chicago and Michigan and all you other guys that are in the Midwest and stuff, I know that February can be the worst. I mean, we've seen our worst storms even at the beginning of March. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But little weather report here in the morning for coffee. I don't have my sidekick here to pick up the slack, so to speak, but I'll do my best. So let me tell you what's been going on with me for the last couple of days. I have had hard. I feel like I never sometimes can talk, so let's talk. I literally was knee deep in what last week because my main in the basement decided to go. And that was fun. We had the plumber here till all hours of the night the other night. And it backed up in both directions. We had to have the whole, thing rotor-rooted out. And then I have a hairline crack in like 3 different places in the Maine. So it's like, oh, and we want to leave. We want to move. I don't want to put any more money into this house. I'm so done. I so want to be out of here this year. And, can I sell a house like that? Probably not. Probably have to do it, but it is. Sold a Catherine's jacket to someone in Orlando, Florida yesterday. Wow. Okay. All right. Good morning, Maggie Doodle. How are you, hon? Welcome. Thanks for being here. Connie says we've had a low of 11 at the lowest so far. Okay. All right. Move quickly. Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to get out of here for a few years, and it's a good and a bad thing. I mean, the bad thing is I have so much family here. My dad, I literally can walk to his house. My brother, I could literally walk to his house. My brother didn't live here. We both lived here for years because my parents lived literally 4 blocks, almost 5 blocks away. And he moved away with his current wife to Queens for many years, and they just came back. Actually, they came back the year of Superstorm Sandy to live here, and now he's here, and he's like, and now you're leaving. My aunt, who actually is down in Florida, she's a snowbird. My aunt and uncle, she just rang my phone. I said, I hate to cut you off, but I'll call you. I'll talk to you later. So she lives again, like a couple of blocks in an opposite direction. My older son and his wife live the next town over. So I do have a lot of family here, and I hate to leave. But it's so expensive to live here. And my husband's been sick for years, and it's just not retirement for us. It's still going to be hustle and bustle if I don't do something. I mean, I still love the hustle and bustle. Don't get me wrong, but he can't really work anymore. I mean, he helps me with the business when he can, and he's been, he had his first heart attack at 43, and he's been sick for the last 20 years on and off with different heart issues, and probably eventually will at some point need a heart transplant. So he can't do the colds. He can't do like this. If we do have snow, the shoveling, the mowing, all that other stuff that comes in. So we've been looking for like a 55 and over community, anywhere between like mid Delaware to very north South Carolina, because we don't really want to go hot like Florida. We'd like to still stay, a little bit, and we want to still be near the coast. I mean, even here on Long Island, we're really not on the water. And I say that because, for years, when we've been in this house now 20-something years, and we've made some improvements, and we used to say, should we do this or should we sell and move south? And I am so glad after Superstorm Sandy, we don't live on the water, because not that we could afford it either. Trust me. Oh my God, you would not believe real estate here on Long Island. It's so crazy. It really is. And that's why you can't retire here. I mean, my taxes just went up again this year, with the incorporated village that we live in, and the school tax and the property tax. I mean, we're hitting 16.5. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's half a salary for some people. That's a whole salary for some people in the United States. I mean, I can't do it anymore. It's just stupid. It's throwing money away. It's 60 by 100, 60 by 100 property. So it's not even like we have acres for that property tax. It's ridiculous. And I'm in the middle as far as taxes are concerned. I mean, you go down to the water here on Long Island, people are paying $32,000, $38,000. It's ridiculous. One person has to work just to pay for real estate taxes. Not happening anymore. I'm done. And again, you cannot retire here. You just can't. I mean, I guess you can. I shouldn't say that. There's plenty of people who do it. But when you retire to a 55 and over community here, you're paying $600,000-$700,000 to buy that property. It's ridiculous. And the maintenance is, I don't know, $800-900 a month. Nah, can't do it. Couldn't do it. Yeah, see, Maggie Doodle says, I wouldn't mind moving somewhere warmer, but my first grandchild is on the way. I know. My oldest son, who'll be 35 this year, him and his wife have been married since the eve of Superstorm Sandy. It was another disaster in our life. But I wasn't 50 yet. And I said to them, I don't want to be a grandma before I'm 50. Please, please, please. I jinxed myself so bad, because here we are, 8 years later, whatever it is. Yeah, they're married about 8 years. And I'm still not a grandma. Although my son did tell me the other day, he said, Ma, this year. But now, see, I'm afraid when that happens, I won't want to go. Ugh. Yeah, that's times 2 of my salary. I know, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's stupid. It's so stupid. It really is. Honestly, Willow, it's like, Cheryl, it's beyond stupidity. I feel like it's just throwing money away. So, yeah, that's definitely what we've been looking at, about $2,000 a year in property taxes. Somewhere in a gated community, somewhere between $175 and $225 for common charges. And still a single family home. A lot of the developments we've looked at have been single family homes, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, because the garage I want for the business. And I don't garage my cars now in my garage, so why would I do it if I get someplace else? We'd use it for the business, not my other 2 spare bedrooms that we use now in this house. I want it out of my house. That's another reason. I want it out of my house. It's like every day I'm staring at crap. It's not crap, and I don't mean it that way, but I want to have a real organizational room where I do everything, and not where I take pictures in the dining room and I store stuff in bedroom 1. I mean, I have the eBay room and I have the office room, both which house eBay, including this dining room now. So I want to have it all confined to one area. Even if I don't do YouTube and my selling and reselling and stuff on here, even if I do that at my kitchen or dining room table, as long as I keep everything separate, I feel like I'm not staying. No, Cheryl, I am not looking to stay here at all. I was just saying I'm looking to go somewhere between mid-Delaware and northern South Carolina, somewhere in that area, up or down the East Coast. I want to stay with relative distance because my dad won't come with us. My dad won't come with us for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's been in the house that he lives. I mean, we lost my mom. It'll be 2 years now next month. And I thought for sure that's when we really started talking about going. And he was almost on board with going with us. And the more I thought about it, we have my brother who lives right next door with my 10-year-old niece, and he does pick her up from school and take her to dance or piano or whatever she might have on her plate. So my brother and my sister-in-law kind of rely on him a little bit. Yes, I do the Real Housewife. We do. This was kind of last minute with Donna getting the flu, so I didn't really. But I'm more than willing. Listen, guys, I always tell you guys, if you guys want to come on and do an auction, if you want to come on here and coffee in the morning, just shoot me an email. We'll get you on. Absolutely. I'd love to have you on for sure. Definitely. Our house is $5,000 and taxes are $1,250 per year, large 5-bedroom, 3-bath. I mean, that's amazing, Patricia, because my house is probably worth maybe $100,000 more than that, but my taxes are $16,500. Okay. So put that into perspective. It's whatever, it doesn't matter. Again, just can't retire here. I'm the shoemaker. I've been in mortgage for 33 years. I don't know my house free and clear. Trust me, I'm mortgaged. I'm big time mortgaged. So, I'm not buying something all cash either. So, I still have to carry some small mortgage when we go. So, and that's the problem with a lot of people in this, we're all cash poor. The only good thing I have to say is the first time in my life, I probably don't have a lot of credit debt, which is a good thing. I mean, I own my cars. I won't buy a new car because I won't have the payment. I just won't do it. My son has that, my younger son now with his car, he's feeling it because my dad has been so generous this year. Well, good and bad ways. And we lost my aunt who moved here about the end of the summer. No, it was really closer to October. And it was October, actually. It was my sister-in-law's birthday when she passed. And she was an executive to the vice president of Exxon. So she left my dad a nice inheritance. So another reason why now he doesn't have to leave. He was so afraid he was going to outlive his money. But he wants to send my youngest kid. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because I loved my aunt. She had no children, and I was the oldest of all the cousins. And I was like her daughter in a way, but she did leave. She took care of my dad, thank God. And I'm so happy for that because My dad is so healthy at 82 years old. He doesn't take a pill. He's so strong, and how, I mean, he still fixes. When my plumbing went the other day, and he's like, oh, let me come over. I'm going to help you. Let's open the drain. Well, he has a rotor-rooter thing and things like that. I said, no, Dad, you're not doing it. You're not doing it. I mean, he just put this tremendous TV up on his wall with my brother. He loves to work on things. He loves to have his little hobbies, but I'm so glad now he's going to be taken care of. So now he wants to take care of everybody else. And my youngest son went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting out of high school. I mean, literally, he graduated high school at 17, and he graduated the Connecticut School of Broadcasting at 18. And I think he was just too young. He did get an offer to go to Verizon TV, Fios One, which is a station here in New York, and he didn't take it. And he didn't want it because he really wanted radio. And I'm sorry he didn't take it. And today, of course, at 21, almost 22, he's kicking himself for not taking it either. Because the one good thing about the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and they do have 8 locations up and down the East Coast, including one here on Long Island. So he didn't have to travel to Connecticut. So he went here in Westbury, Long Island, to it. And it's a trade school. You learn the front and the back end of TV and radio. And he was a broadcaster in high school for 4 years. He loved it. And then he did his own kind of podcast, and he was he was DJing on an underground, one of these satellite radios for a while during while he was doing the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And then he kind of got away from it. And because he didn't take that role with Verizon, he feels like now, like maybe he lost his opportunity. So he's considering, he did go back to school. I shouldn't say he's considering, he did. He took, he went to night school while he was working full time this past semester. And he didn't sign up for the second semester now because he's working, and we have a girlfriend, 2 years, we have a girlfriend. So it is kind of serious. And but he has to go back to school. He knows it. So my dad's been offered to do that for him, which I'm very grateful for. And he's going to go back either for business or something that's going to pay, and not something that, a psychology degree that unfortunately, that they're a dime a dozen, or an attorney or anything that's, crazy like that. But Paul says, my buddy went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting many moons ago. It's a great school. It really is. And their professors, so to speak, their people there, they're all radio and TV personalities. They are not just like, when I was in mortgage and I worked for Chase, I was a trainer, and I taught all the new hires for many years, probably 5 years. I did that with my stint at Chase. And I traveled the country, and I rolled out a new software program that we did. And I trained everybody the new systems, and, got in front of a classroom of, whether it be 20, 30, 100 people. And I thought, when my son went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting, oh, this would be a great place to even come and work. It's local. I could get up and teach and things like that. It's not like I need a teaching degree. But they only hire people in the field, in the industry. So we had our local radio guy here, our local TV guy here, local weather guy here, and everything, who taught at that school, which I think is really, really nice. But that's why they also have like a 99.9% placement with their students, because they are in touch with the actual field. They are the guy who does the weather report every day on Channel 12 News is the guy who's teaching the weather. So he's seeing these kids, oh, this kid would do good here, and this guy would do good here, and this lady would do great here. So it's a good thing. But I understand too. My son can't see. Oh, I'll put my email in. Donna, I'm not going to ask Donna West to do it. I will do it. Hey, Tom. Good morning. How are you? But for him, I think he was just too young, and I think it was just mygreatfindforyou@gmail.com. All right, so there's my address. I think that it's a great school. It does have a great philosophy, and one of the great things is once you go there, you can go back anytime for the lifetime, and you can use any or all of their 8 studios up and down the East Coast as an alumnus. You can go back and you can, if you want to record a demo for an audition or a video or any of that stuff, you can go back as long as you book the time. So it is good. So maybe at some point, maybe he'll go back to school and he'll go into the journalism, broadcasting kind of thing. He always wanted radio, but I keep telling him radio, I don't know. Radio might like go bye-bye like everything else these days. You know, it could be going to the opposite, you know, way, just like, you know, more online stuff and not so much on the air. Although, what is it, XM radio and satellite radio and all of that is becoming very popular. So we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, Paul's saying Sandy and Paul are looking to go in North Carolina. So you should get together. I think it's, who is it? Is it Connie? Somebody has property in North Carolina. I keep forgetting who it is. Patricia, you're in a golf course community as well. Are you in North Carolina too? I forget. I'm trying to remember. I should know where everybody is. Hey, Nana Tink Treasures. Nah, it's okay. It's all good. I'm just chit-chatting this morning. Really just about anything. My girl Donna, she's down with the flu, so we maybe he could do voiceovers on movies. Yeah, you know, both my sons are so talented. My oldest son was an actor. My oldest son started acting he started acting out of the womb, but he started acting at a really young age. And where we lived before this, when I first met my husband, we were out in Suffolk County, and he used to act at a place called the Gateway Playhouse, which is a little further out east, but his coach and his agent both were the owners of the place. And he landed in the movie Ransom. He was supposed to play Mel Gibson's son in the movie Ransom. And, you know, we got to see what true Hollywood and cutthroat and everything that goes on, because Nick Nolte's son wanted the part, and he got it because of, you know, what goes on in the industry. That really turned my husband and my son off completely to pursuing acting and all of that, because that was really devastating to all of us, because, you know, how somebody with less talent, just because they have a father with a name, got the role instead. Hey, good morning, Jose. How are you, hon? How somebody who had really no acting experience, just had a dad in the business, got the role. And the sad part was, my son's acting coach at the time, who owned the Gateway Playhouse, she had to go into Manhattan every day and coach this kid. And she used to tell me, because we were really close at the time, and she's like, you know what, Christopher should have had this role. They had to cut half the scenes out for this kid. They had to, you know, splice whatever they do, you know, to make it happen. But you know what, you live and you learn. But he's been such he's just been such a artistic child since the day he was born. He wrote 25 books before he graduated junior high school, literally. And he wanted to go to RISD. I just couldn't afford it. And he ended up going just locally to, you know, and he did, even in high school, he did all art programs. He, you know, wrote, draw, everything you could name. And you guys might see him. He's actually scheduled to be on auctions on February 10th. He's going to bring some of his comics and gaming stuff on that day, so you'll meet him then. And he's one of my Vikings. Donna jokes about her Vikings, but I have 2 Viking boys, 6'2" and 6'4", and he's my 6'4" baby. He's a big boy. He was a big boy too. They were both big boys. One was 9'9" and one was 9'10", so they both were big. They were both big from the get-go. And he's struggled. He's had epilepsy since he's 4. And he's, like I said, he's 34. He's going to be 35 this year. He's never driven. You know, he struggled with it. And he's actually just been accepted into a drug study through NYU. So I think it's NYU, one of the Manhattan college schools. I don't remember. medical centers. I don't remember now, but he doesn't keep me 100% in the loop anymore, even though I am his mommy, because he has a wife of 8 years. So she's more in charge than I am. So I walk a thin line. For those of you who are also mother-in-laws, you know how that goes. You don't want to step on toes. I love my daughter-in-law to death, but I like to know as the mother, I'm still his mother. So yeah, it is. It is. He's come a long way, but epilepsy, for anybody who's never 100% controlled on medication, is a tough battle. And now the complications start coming when you're 30 years on medicine. When you have been on epileptic drugs for 30 years and more than one and multiple drugs, it just takes a toll on your body. There was a time about 2 or 3 years ago, he lost 100 pounds, and they still can't say to this day really what caused that. I mean, they did all kinds of tests. I mean, there was a point they even thought he had pancreatic cancer because his grandmother, my mother-in-law, passed away of pancreatic cancer, and that scared me to death when they thought that. Mothers always know best. That's true, Tom. That's so true. Yeah, Maggie, you understand. And okay, so all right, so North Carolina, you both are. Okay, yeah. So I got a lot of North Carolina. Now, how do we say that? North Carolinians? I'm not sure. I forget. But we have a lot of East Coast people, and my ex was epileptic. Yeah, it's especially 6'4", hitting the ground is not a good thing. I mean, even when he was younger, he had 40 stitches in the back of his head when he was probably just out of high school. He'd been at my sister-in-law's house and came back down on her cement steps. And the good news for my son is that was very unexpected, because as an epileptic, since he was even 4 years old, he had what they call an aura. And when you have an aura, you kind of know when it's going to happen. And he used to say, "Mommy, my eye is going to twitch." And that's how it would start. His eye would literally start twitching. And he always had these more petit mal when he was younger, not grand mal seizures. And now he has mixed complex, and it's kind of morphed and changed over the years. I'm having it. And Carolinians. Yeah, it is scary. It's very scary. So when he's aware of it, he's very aware of it, which is a good thing. But there are times he went seizure-free about 3 or 4 years ago. It's maybe even longer than that, with a drug called Patiga. It was a new drug they put him on, and he went the longest he ever went without a seizure. So much so that literally he had the formula tattooed up his arm. He had a party. He had like all gung-ho that this medication worked. Hey, Misha, good morning. And they discontinued the drug because not enough people were on it, and the pharmaceutical company wasn't making enough money. So yeah. So if we wanted it, it was about $50,000 a bottle. I mean, crazy. I mean, before they were completely discontinuing it, his doctor knew that it was going off the market, and I think she wrote him extra prescriptions and things like that. But yeah, that and now this new drug that he's going to be in this drug study, and we don't know if he's going to actually get the drug or get the placebo, is supposed to be like very similar to the Patiga that he was taking. So that, I think, is another reason why he was accepted into the program. Plus you have to have some other, things going on. And he works for UPS. He's not a driver. He works on the dock, and he hasn't even been able to do that because he literally had a seizure on one of the conveyor belts and burnt the whole side of his face one day. So they had to put him out on short-term disability for that. And that's another reason why, he doesn't want to go out on full-time disability. Nobody does. But, he might be in a situation where right now with the drug study and where he's not 100% controlled anymore, he's going to have to do it. It's a shame. It's a shame, but, it happens. Ah, nice. Patricia, I live on the poor side of 485 at Ballantyne, 521. I'm sure it's not. Do we have anybody in the chat from South Carolina? I'd be curious. Although I'm not opposed to North Carolina. I just don't know too much about those two states to really pick a good spot. See, we picked Delaware originally because it's very drivable. Here it's, we would go in like Middletown area, which is like the middle. And then we started looking at a place in Dover called Noble Ponds, which is another 55 and over community. But then two of my girlfriends said they're going to Little River, South Carolina. And I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And some of the things I've seen have been good, but I've never actually visited there. So my husband and I are going to plan something, but that's not something we can drive through, in like to Delaware 3 or 4 hours. That's like an 18-hour maybe drive, or, obviously flying. But I used to do bike tours down around Matthews, North Carolina. Oh, nice. Oh, Tom, you were born and raised in South Carolina? Oh, all right. Good morning, Craig. Good morning. Thank you for coming. All right. So I'd love to know. I would definitely love to know, what areas you guys would recommend as somebody going, into its retirement. I'm not opposed to living in a gated community or a subdivision or a community that has kids. It doesn't necessarily have to be 55 and over. I don't. It's not like don't want anything to do with children. Believe me, I love kids. It's just for the maintenance part of it, of mowing and taking care of the property and things like that. Hey, beautiful Jennifer Hayes is in the house. You vacation in Beaufort, South Carolina. I think that's further down the coast. I could be wrong. Misha's in Texas. I don't want to go to Texas. No offense to anybody in Texas. I've done a lot of travel to Texas. My aunt used to live outside of Dallas when she, worked for Exxon, when she relocated out of New York to go there. I have yet to get to see that. Oh, I'm so sorry, Patricia, you are. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm busy rambling. Jennifer says, come to Delaware. Okay. So many New Yorkers move here to Virginia. Yes, I believe that too. Yes, we are starting to look at 55 and over too. I'm not there yet, but my husband is, so I pass. I'll be there soon enough. We got another year to go. Beaufort is south of Charleston on the coast. Okay. All right. So Patricia, I'm sorry. And I should know that because I mail to you guys when you guys buy from me. Like, how stupid am I? But so tell me what good areas there are. I want to know. Where's a good area? I don't want to pay a lot. I've done it my whole life. I'm done. I don't need big. Bigger isn't always better. I learned that the hard way. I shouldn't say that. Listen, I love my home. And one of the things, Beaufort is military, but the beach is nice. Okay. One of the big things, I'm so over improved here where I am. And I was able to afford in my mortgage days, I was able to afford, kitchens and bathrooms and dormers and decks and pools and things like that. It's time to downsize. It's time to come back to reality, so to speak. But we used to entertain. My husband's a chef by trade. So we used to have 22 for Thanksgiving and 18 for Christmas and everybody's birthday and you name it. There was a time we used to have, everybody just even on a Saturday or a Sunday night for dinner. But I'm so over that. I'm so over entertaining. We were the entertainment house and we couldn't even get away from it this year. I still had to do Christmas. I talked my brother and sister-in-law into Thanksgiving, but we still had to do Christmas. But they'll have to come to me if they want because they can drive. They can get in a plane if they have to. So tell me nobody's telling me what cities is good to go to. Because I'm going to start mapping some things out now. Once the weather breaks and it starts getting nicer, we're definitely going to do some road trips. So you'll see T calling auctions maybe from your state. Maybe. We'll see. Where are you, Mr. Turtle Trader? I forget. I always like looking at citydata.com. Lots of good info there in areas and people's opinions. Oh, okay. Good to know, Lisa C. How are you, hon? Thanks for joining. I live in some suburban country with land, urban. Well, that's the thing. I would love, listen, years ago, my husband and I talked about moving to like Montana or Idaho or, somewhere where we can like be in horse country. Nah. Nah. If it was up to me, I would seriously consider like a place like, what's it called? Like a Sun City, or like, Florida has that big community down there for retirement. I can't think of the name of it, but we're not going to Florida. So, but no, just a community where that was the other reason why when we looked at it, it was a place called Noble's Pond in Delaware. And one of the reasons, we looked there, it was in Dover, which is not that far of a drive. Everything with traffic is a problem, especially with the tri-state area here with New York. So you have to be commuting, during off-peak hours, so to speak. And sometimes that doesn't mean anything here in New York anymore. It used to be where if you got on the road before 2:30 in the afternoon, or you got on the road before 5:30 in the morning, you'd miss traffic. It doesn't even work like that anymore here. It doesn't matter what time of day. It could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, the Villages. Yes, that's what I was talking about. We're not going to Florida, but somebody has talked about the Villages in Florida. I don't know if we have Sun City in Indian Land, South Carolina. What do you think about it? Is that too commercialized? Do you think it's too? That's why I don't want Della. Need warmer. Yeah, and you know what? This is the first time my husband is actually like, oh, the Carolinas might be better. He always was a cold person, so to speak. I mean, I used to have to live through windows open this time of year. Now he's putting an extra blanket on, so it's bothering him now. Connie says, be careful, T. I said I was going to downsize, but ended up going from 2,200 square foot home to a 3,400 square foot home. No, you know what? And that's the other thing with this house. Bigger isn't always better, because I don't want to clean 3 bathrooms anymore. I don't want to have to take care of 4 bedrooms anymore. And, with that, it's like having, it's okay to have a nice car, but with that comes a nice ticket. When I was earning and making money, I bought 2 brand new Lexuses. I'm not afraid to tell you guys that, because I did make money in the day. I still have one of them and I still drive it. It's an 07 and I'm very happy with it. It has less than 100,000 miles on it because we weren't driving it that much up until the last year or two. But you know what? When the brakes went on that car, it was $1,000 bill. No, thank you. So the bigger the car, the more expenses there are. The bigger the house, the more expenses there are. I'm so done. I am so done. And, I don't want to like have to be eating cat food or whatever people do when they retire because they can't afford anything else. Sun City is awesome, Patricia says. Is it? All right, so maybe then it would be something that we would consider. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. I live in Triad, High Point, Winston-Salem, Greensboro area of North Carolina. I thought you lived in North Carolina. Okay, yeah, so I think. Good morning, Jonathan. Hi, how are you? Thank you for coming. Yeah, being a chef takes a toll on your body early. I was forced out of the kitchen at 47. You know what? So is he, to be honest with you, because you're standing on your feet for hours and hours a day. Hours and hours a day. And when we had the restaurant, I mean, I saw him age like 10 years. And he's 10 years older to begin with than me. He'll be 60. He'll be 63 this year. So, no, 64 this year. Oh my God, we're getting old. I'll be 54. And I don't mind telling anybody my age. It's just a number. I don't feel it. Maybe sometimes. But broke with nicer things. I'm okay with that. Absolutely. I'll be broke with nicer things too. I've spent millions in my lifetime. I've always lived beyond my means, and I'm not afraid to tell you that either. I've learned my lessons hard in life. We've had 8 businesses that failed. We walked away from a restaurant with $500,000 in debt. I filed bankruptcy. I could tell you guys stories, believe me. And I'm not ashamed of that. because you know what? We've tried things. We've been entrepreneurs our entire life. I met him 6 months later. We bought a stationery store together. Probably one of our only successful businesses in our life. And I mean, successful. It wasn't like this big, tremendous, smoke shop newspaper stand. But that's when people really bought newspapers. That's when people smoked. Like it was successful then because of the time. It probably wouldn't have been so much today because of, everything. But, we own that. I own the mortgage company. We had a couple of side businesses, always had the eBay going for the last, 20 years, last 10, seriously. We did fix and flips. We fixed and failed, big time serious. I thought being in mortgage, I could get into real estate. That didn't work. Crashed and burns with that. And 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. And it wasn't for any other matter that, honestly, it's the overhead, it's the waste, it's everything that goes into the food industry that really, the competition and people, location. We had a very bad location with one place. The landlord was I can't even say the word. Just too many things went wrong there. So many things went wrong there. But again, you live and you learn, and we survive. And that's what you have to do in this world. But I'm done doing that rat race, and there's no way. Yeah, yeah, I know, Tom. I know. Yep. The more you make, the more you spend, Lisa. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, not anymore. The same thing with me. Not anymore. I mean, years ago, when I first thought about college and everything, I literally started going to medical school, and I was going to be a doctor. And there were times in the mortgage business, I made a doctor's salary, and I didn't have the student loan debt or the malpractice or anything. So it was good to me. It was really good to me for years. Because if I was a doctor, I'd be a lot better off today, but that's okay. It's all right. I don't have malpractice. And you know what? You survive. You do what you have to do, and you live on $100 a week. You live on $1,000 a week. You live on $10,000 a week. Whatever you can do, you do it to survive. But I'm done scraping and hustling. I've had 3 jobs most of my life. I could look back and say, even very young in life, at 18, 19 years old, I always worked 3 jobs. Always. Lisa says, I'm disabled now. 3 seconds changed your life. Yeah, life is so precious. And I see that with my husband every day. And, people were a little taken back when I kind of went full time into the reselling gig last year and stepped away from the mortgage business. I'm still doing it, per diem, so to speak, on a case-by-case basis. Customers reach out to me. I have a purchase coming up with somebody who's been very loyal to me over the years. And always come back to me for a mortgage. But I really have spent a lot of time this year with my husband, and I've done that because I know what kind of health situation he's in, and I feel like I don't want to lose, and I don't want to miss out. I did a lot of hustle and bustle my whole life that I lost a lot with all my family, my kids too, because I traveled so much. My husband spent more time with my kids than I have, because they would always be with him when I was traveling on the road. 5 years. I did pick up the suitcase at Sunday night and go to the airport and come home on Friday night and pack up again on Saturday to leave on Sunday. I did that, oh my gosh, for 2 years while we rolled out a brand new software system with Chase. So I missed a lot. I mean, I had my youngest son here when I was traveling. In fact, I was in Texas on a business trip, and my husband's pacemaker defibrillator shocked him how many times. And my youngest son had to call 911 and get him in an ambulance and get him to the hospital because I was thousands of miles away in Texas. So they've spent a lot more time with my husband than I have. So this year's it's just been nice. And we used to work together, and we used to have 2 businesses together. And everybody said, how could you guys work day in, day out? We've done it. We've made it work. We really have. And we did. And I said to him this morning, I said, you want to come on coffee with me? He's like, no. And he's always told me no, because I've asked him before. And then this morning. He says, but I'm not opposed to it in the future. So stay tuned. So you might meet him someday. Siosa, good morning, Lisa. How are you? I've always either had 2 jobs or 1 job and a ton of volunteer work. Nice. Yeah, life is so very precious. It's so true. It really is. It really is. And I count my blessings every day. Look in the Columbia, South Carolina area, 1.5 the coast or 1.5 to the mountains. I-20 to I-95 to New York, 6 hours to Orlando International Airport, so you can jump on a plane to your house in the south of France. Yeah, right. Not happening. 1.5 hours. I knew what you meant. Okay. Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. All right. Oh, thanks, Deb. Thanks. Yeah. Well, you guys can see them. I just started going back to our old channel because we had a YouTube channel too, my husband and I. It was called Meet Robin T, and we haven't recorded on there. It's probably going to be almost 5 years now. I'm trying to remember. That was probably right after we closed the restaurant. But yeah, we were a little corny cooking in the kitchen and stuff like that. And it's very elementary. We did a lot of elementary stuff kind of to get into the beginning of the cooking for people. He didn't do a lot of intricate stuff. Patricia said, this area is great for health problems. Duke is the best heart and lung transport center in the country. I should know. I know. Patricia, I'm saying my prayers for your hubby. I am. Yeah, that's our next step is an LVAD. I know what it is. Yeah. So he's had a pacemaker defibrillator since he's 43. He had his first heart attack at 43. I owned my own mortgage company at the time, and he was actually working full time right here on Long Island. And he drove a Harley as a recreational vehicle since he's like 17. And he's had a lot of heartache in his life. My husband, he met his high school sweetheart, got married right out of not right out of high school. I mean, they met at 17. I think they got married at 20 or 21. And they were married for 17 years. And she was 5 months pregnant, and she had a brain aneurysm and died at work. And she didn't really die at work. She was on life support, and he had to make a decision. She was brain dead, whether or not to keep her on life support to keep the baby alive. It was a terrible decision for anybody. And at the time, he was probably 34. He was probably 34 years old, as she was. That's what she was when she died. And he's had a lot of heartache. He actually has a reattached foot. His brother decided to run over his foot with a snowmobile. His father repacked it in snow. That was 15 for my husband. So he has a reattached foot. That was like 1970 something. So imagine that. And he was a blind date. I met him through my parents' financial advisor. And he's like, have I got a guy for you? And it was funny because he had tried to set me up once before because I was married once before. My oldest son is not my husband's biological child, but he is his father. That's the only man he's known in his whole life because his biological father decided he just wanted nothing to do with anybody and just disappeared. But my financial advisor says, have I got a guy for you, right? So he tells me his name is Robbie Bookstaver, and he's a widow. And the first thing I could picture, and this is no offense to anybody Jewish out there, all I could picture was this short, bald Jewish fat man, because you're telling a 20-something-year-old girl that you have a widow. I was probably 24. No, I was a little older than that, probably 26 at the time. And, so when he came to my parents and knocked on the door and I saw his big, tall, handsome thing with this cross around his neck, I was like, yes. And not that I'm opposed to anybody Jewish. Believe me, my best friend is Jewish. And we joke about it all the time. It's just that, you know what, when you meet somebody and sometimes there's enough complications with relationships. And, I'm born and raised Catholic my whole life, and he was too. So that was a good thing for me. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It's just that was like a plus. That was a plus in my book. And we met on a blind date, and the rest is history. And he was just getting over his wife. It was probably just about 2 years since she passed, and it was a struggle for us in a while. It was hard for him, but and I often used to think, over the years, oh gosh, who does he want to be buried with, me or his wife who he lost? And it's me now. But it's a sad thing. I mean, we're married now 25 years will be this year, and I know I'm 27. So, but it is a funny story. It is a funny story. And then here we were. How many years later with 2 kids. And I was at work, and I came home late. It was Labor Day weekends, Memorial Day weekend, actually. And my husband, at the time, I owned a mortgage company, and he had the restaurant, and we were very busy. And, hours were crazy, and I had a live-in nanny for the kids. And usually on Friday, she would stay Monday through Friday, and she lived in Queens, and she used to take the train home. And my 2 boys, because my oldest son is, 13 years, there's 13 years difference between my children, 21 and 34. There's about 12 years difference between them. I used to let him sit, for an hour or 2 before we got home on a Friday. It was usually myself or my husband who would try to get home earlier on a Friday. And this Friday, he had taken the motorcycle to work and decided to go on a road trip with one of his buddies that coming Monday because they had off. And so he figured, let me take the bike out because Harleys are infamous for breaking down. So we rode it into work on Friday. And I had a late closing because it was a holiday weekend, and we were trying to wrap up for a 3-day weekend, which was a pleasure for us. So I came home probably 7:30, and he was supposed to come home 5:30. And I walk into the house, and it's very dark, and the lights are off. But my oldest son was sitting here on the counter, and he was drawing because that's all he did was draw or write. He was so artistic, it still is. And the baby was in the playpen. And I looked at him and I said, honey, where's your father? And I figured he was out on the deck. It was Friday. He was home from work. He probably was having a beer, smoking. Of course, all this leads to heart problems. So hopefully none of you guys are doing this stuff now today. But he said he isn't home yet. And it was funny because I came home a different way from work. And when I looked to my left as I was my right, as I was coming up the street, I saw yellow caution tape. But I didn't think anything of it when I pulled up to the house because his truck was in the driveway. And I had forgotten he took the motorcycle to work. So with that, I remember seeing the yellow tape. I grabbed my purse and I opened the front door. There is a black unmarked car in my driveway with 2 men's in suit with my husband's wallet in their hands standing on my front stoop. My heart just went, I literally just froze. And he's like, are you Robert Bookstaver's wife? And I said, yes. And he said, can we come in? And I said, yes. And they proceeded to tell me it was a minor accident. Please, everything is fine. Do you have somebody to stay with the children? And thank God my parents live 5 blocks away. I called my dad. He came over. They were like, no, we'll take you. And they excuse me. They took me, and they insisted on taking me in their car. So I sat in the back seat as they proceeded to kind of, as I think about it, years and time gone by lately, really pry and ask questions and kind of, does your husband have a heart issue? And they like just certain things they kept asking. They kept saying, no, don't worry, he's fine. Everything's okay. And of course, when I got to the hospital, everything wasn't okay. He actually had a heart attack on his Harley. Had it been 2 minutes, 3 minutes earlier, he would have been doing 55 on the highway. But he was like 2 blocks from home, and he hit the tree, not the bike. The bike went up on the lawn. He broke every rib in his body. He had a tib-fib fracture of his leg. And they resuscitated him 19 times in the field, totally out of protocol. And the only reason I know that is because my neighbor is a volunteer EMT for our local firehouse, which is literally up the street. And he literally had the heart attack right here on the other street. So they were there within minutes. And the hospital that they took him to is no longer in business. And they're no longer in business for a reason. They were like, you wouldn't go there to get your hangnail clipped. And I remember calling my aunt, who was an RN, who again lives 5 minutes the other direction. She met me over there, and they couldn't keep him there. They had to airlift him to the trauma hospital. He was on an aortic balloon pump. He was on, he's obviously intubated and the whole 9 yards. And when they flew him there, they lost him actually. And it's very rare that you lose somebody in the air because of the altitude, I believe. And for 14 days, he was in a coma. They told me for days I was going to be a widow. He wasn't making it. Good morning, my beautiful friend. She's awake. Good morning. Thank you for coming. And it was a scary time in our life. And it was when you start to appreciate appreciate what you have and what you can lose. To Lisa's point, that you could lose in an instant, and life is too short. And that was 20 years ago, and he's still here walking around to tell it. But it has played a toll, and he's had many procedures since, and he's undergone, he's had numerous things. He's actually had a third wire put into his pacemaker defibrillator. He had a pacemaker defibrillator put in after that because they found out he had an arrhythmia that we didn't know about. And so we've struggled a lot, but again, he's here to tell his story, and lots of stories he can tell. He is the man of 9 lives. But thank you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome for coming in every Saturday and Sunday. I thank you guys. Yeah, for sure. You've buried your husband a half a dozen times. I cheated on you, T. What do you mean you cheated on me? What did you do? Oh my God. You cheated on me? Oh my God, I'm scared now. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I hope you're feeling better. I'm a little scared to know what you mean that you cheated on me. But so I haven't talked to my girl yet this morning because she was, your husband has a new heart. It's amazing what can happen. Oh, and that's the laugh too, because, they tell us all these years, he's a heart failure patient. He has what they call an EF, or an ejection fracture, that roams somewhere around 12 or 14. In its good day, it's been 25, which is still bad. Ejection fracture to your heart is your heart's output. And it should be 65 or above for the normal person. So anything under 35 is severe heart failure, which he's always been under 35 since his first heart attack. So that's 20 years. And they've tried numerous things, like the third wire on his pacemaker defibrillator. And, they've had some what you call innovations of things. And he's also at stroke risk because he's had a lot of what they call AFib. As a matter of fact, he had a ventricular, 6.5 hours, whatever it was. I can't even think now. It was a ablation. He had a ventricular ablation. Oh, your husband's went down to 7 or 8. Wow. Oh gosh. Okay. Thanks, John Jones. So then they did this 6.5 hour ablation for the ventricular fibrillation. I think the accident made your husband stronger. He's the man. Yeah. He's he definitely is the man. But now he landed up in AFib for like 40 something days. They caught it. It just started in November. And because he has the pacemaker defibrillator, they can read certain things, that happen. So they saw that he was in AFib all this time. So they just brought him in for what they call a cardioversion, which is where they have to actually shock the heart out of. Oh, Jonathan, I'm in between 20 and 30%, and I'm still waiting for surgery. Oh, okay. Yeah. Surgery as far as what, though? Are you on a heart transplant? He's not on a list yet. They have to still, he has to get worse before he gets better. I mean, it's so up and down with that. Hubby had 2 ablations and wire addition and his defib pacemaker. Yeah. Congestive heart failure many times. Yeah. And that's why, I have to laugh. They tell you to get a heart, you have to be well. So what are they waiting for? He is well right now, so to speak. And that's, that's saying he's well physically, not so much, but the heart plays a toll on your breathing too, because he's always huffing and puffing. And let me tell you something, guys. If we knew now what we know then, you almost have to be dead to get to get on the list. I know, Nana. And you know what's sad is they keep saying, but he has to be well enough to get a heart. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get it done. So I know, but you know what? Pat, Shelby, I would love to reach out to you because you're going through this with your husband with the lung, and you've got the hospital there. And if we seriously consider relocating there, we do have to pick up and take all our, he thinks if we go to Delaware, he can commute back and forth and keep his New York doctors. But anything can happen in a moment's notice. And we don't have 4 hours to drive home to New York, even if we do just go to Delaware. So he has to understand he has to pick up new doctors. Yeah, Nana. I am Lisa C. Only thing I can't donate is my kidneys. I have a Siamese kidney. My mom actually lost a kidney, and I wasn't able to donate because I would have. But I have a double ureter, or I don't know, something going on one side of my kidney. I had an operation when I was 7, so I'm not able to donate a kidney. That's the only organ I can't. All right, Connie, enjoy your day, sweetheart. Thanks for coming in. Jack was on the active list, and he came off because. Hey, Susan. Yes, Susan, I went to sleep. It was after 2, but I went to sleep. I did. Good morning. So, Miss Donna, how are you feeling this morning? I hope you got some rest. Yeah, I am definitely. Yeah. Okay. Heart was shocked too. All right. Well, we have hit the hour mark. I scored big time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. I'm calling you. Because he was doing better. Wait him to make sure he's not too sick for the transplant. That's my argument. It's so crazy. Oh, you were John Jones. Yeah, you can have heart attacks and not realize it. All right, Paul, take care, honey. Your son has multiviral Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, you can have a heart attack and not know it. Absolutely. Positively. A stroke, too. People have had many strokes and not even known it. So, take care of yourselves, guys. Oh, thanks, Patricia. Thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. All right, so we've hit the hour mark, and thank you guys so much for listening to me. Yeah. He was approved, too. 10:11. Hi, Denali. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe an auction later. We'll see. Look for a pop-up. I'm gonna talk to my girl now, see what her plans are. She's got to take some time though. But I'm gonna maybe do something later. So make sure you subscribe to everybody, including me. Make sure your notifications are on. And we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for coming in. Bye, guys. Mwah. Love yous. Thank you.